Cythandria, one of Sarevok's lovers, used to be one of his favored, has challenged us at the top of the Iron Throne Tower. Yes, there is a very, very top level, but there's like nothing there. This is the top floor, regardless. Cythandria, you're going to die. She thinks that by killing us, she'll gain his favor again.
My blade will cut you down to size.
Okay, she's conjured up an ogre.
Death!
By temper shield!
You're a queer fellow.
They're my way.
Isn't as easy as I make it look. I'm tired.
Okay, she's gone invisible. There she is. She's back up. She tried to fear us. Oh, that hit her a lot.
What is your command?
Fireball. I'll bring her down myself.
Rest you my peace with your demons before I send you to meet them.
Wait, do not kill me, please. I will tell you where to find my lord. The undercellar is where you wish to go. It is there that you will find Sarevok. You can reach the undercellar through the sewers. Please, let me go. I am shamed by my lack of courage. As you should. Give us all your possessions, then get out of our sight. Take everything. It matters little. My life is forfeit.
Flesh wound.
Okay, no more fireballs. Just let her go. Let her go. Let her be. That witch hurt us more than I would have liked. She gave me a diary and a couple letters. Well,
with ease.
At this point, that's could be worth its weight in gold. It's the ogre that we killed. We're gonna have to rest, especially now that we're all injured.
Then,
I'm eager to see if there's anything interesting in this book, in this diary. Pretty sure I picked this area clean. You know, see if there's anybody back here. No. Okay, let's go find an inn. Get out of this place. There's a tavern just to the east of here. Why do you look like I should know who you are? I have nothing to say to you. Out of my way. Looks like a rogue type to me. If I ever did see one. Well, it's not a well-known tavern, but maybe that's what we need right now.
Not a problem.
A room, sir.
You want some whiskey?
See what you have to offer. Oh, he's got a royal room. That's good. I don't feel like we're... Let's just rest. We're all tired and injured. Okay, so I've had time to go through the diary. The Diary of Sarevok. Personal Diary of Sarevok. This diary looks to be important. I should probably keep it in my person, as it could be a key piece of incriminating evidence regarding Sarevok's involvement in the Iron Crisis and bandit raids, as well as some rather interesting insight into his murderous heritage. Some of the more relevant entries are as follows. 21st of Nightall, 1366. Father seems to be plotting something major, but as usual, he is not revealing any details of the plan to me. The conversations in his study lately have tended toward the Cloakwood and its natural defenses and pumping water from caves. I have been able to piece together nothing from this, nor do I know why the men have been visiting him. Nor do I know the men that have been visiting him. This will change. 11th of chess, 1367. Another violent dream. I was a boy again, and a dog was barking at me, so I killed it with the dagger I found in my hand, the same bone dagger from the other dreams. Mother started to chastise me, and I ripped out her throat. Her blood was fresh, but I already had old blood in my hands, and my fingers had strangely turned into claws. The dog's head came back to life. Its eyes were solid black. Like father, like son, it said. I felt quite calm during the dream, but when I awoke I found I had been crying. Is this weakness? I must expunge it. 14th of Myrtle, 1367. The ceremony marking the completion of my Deathbringer training seemed rather anticlimactic to me, but my performance seems to have impressed Father. He took me aside and informed me that tomorrow he shall reveal to me what he has been plotting these past few months, and even grant me a major role in it if his associates agree. He assures me that it is a far-reaching plan and that I should not be disappointed with my responsibilities. My interest is quite piqued. Cythandria was also quite pleased with my display this morning, so much so that it took her hours to fully express her appreciation. When we first grew close, I remember how glad I was to find someone who was not repulsed by my affinity for death, but tonight I realized that her thirst is not like mine after all. She has no real desire to get in close and perform the deed herself. She prefers to derive her thrill vicariously, and whether she feels the genuine rush of bloodlust as I do, or if she merely thinks of it as a way to excite her arousal, I am not sure, but I fear it is the latter. 15th of Myrtle, 1367. Father has finally informed me of his secret, and frankly it sounds rather pathetic, not worth any excitement at all. All Father has is the location of a mine concealed deep in the Cloakwood, unknown to anyone else but the virtually extinct Orothiar dwarf clan, and according to them still rich in iron ore when it was accidentally flooded years ago. Bah, iron? I had guessed something similar, but from all of Father's caution and secrecy, I was anticipating a treasure much more glamorous than a stupid iron mine. Where is the glorious blood rush that awaits me? I did not spend years of combat training just to assist in Father's counting house. I feel the need for a challenge much more exciting than the rabble I have been wasting my skills on. I feel the need to finally slay something worthy of the strength I have been sensing awakening within me. 8th of Flame Rule, 1367. Today, Father introduced me to his subordinates, Daviorn and Tranzig, who have made the journey to the hidden mine and confirmed that it could be put into use once again. This evening, I was approached on the street by a ragged, beggarly man who would not give his name, but thrust a book into my hands and said he would be back. The book is worthless, a common third-rate account of the time of troubles, and in horrible condition as well. Nearly every single page is torn in some way, yet something about the man tells me he was more than a simple lunatic. 9th of Flame Rule, 1367. This night's dream was very strange. It was back in the temple, except that every single priestess had my face, and held an identical bone dagger. I looked toward the altar where I had always been before, but instead of me tied to the stone slab, it was the tattered book from yesterday. I had a dagger too, and when I stabbed the book, it bled. The blood, and then the book itself, dissolved into a sort of magical energy which overflowed the gutters in the altar and then evaporated into thin air. I awoke to what felt like an icy grip trying to shatter my heart. I immediately examined the book again. It was damaged deliberately. No two rips line up, and the only pages that were not torn have to do with the killing of Baal and his efforts to ensure his legacy. The more I think about what this might mean, the more I hesitate to write it down, even here. 14th of Elent, 1367. Cormor has instituted a ban against the Iron Throne from operating within their borders. While this is a great blow to the Iron Throne, it is the perfect opportunity for Father to approach the Throne High Council with his proposal. If things go well, we could begin the operation within the year. In more personal matters, my curiosity about my ancestry grows unceasingly. I simply must know if the dreams speak the truth. I will not believe the words of phantoms without proof, but the priest of Baal I confronted today gave me nothing. He was old and died quickly in my grasp. If the words are true, I shall surely groom stronger acolytes than this. 20th of Elent, 1367. The Ragged Man has finally reappeared, this time without his disguise. He gives the name of Winsky Peroate and confirms my suspicions. I am indeed one of the fallen Baal's many offspring. He claims to have been apprenticed to a Deathstalker and therefore knows the signs. He has spent the past few years on the move, tracking down as many of the children as he can, but it seems that I am the most promising of them all, and he apparently intends to train me as his sole pupil. He has already informed me that I could not have chosen a more appropriate path than that of a Deathbringer. I think I shall enjoy this very much. 28th of Elent, 1367, Daviorn reports that the mines at Cloakwood have been drained and are ready for use. This revelation should help greatly in convincing the Throne High Council. Realtar is setting up a base in Baldur's Gate in the mansion of a destitute noble family, and everything is running smoothly. 13th of Marpanoth, 1367, 19th of Marpanoth. The Iron Throne Council has agreed to support Father's plan. He has been given all the resources he needs, as well as leadership of the project. I have expressed interest to my father, and as promised, he is including me with the operations along the Sword Coast. He is sending me as his representative to make contact with some of the mercenary groups operating to the east. He mentioned Mother in our conversation, how I wasn't to be disloyal to him as she had. He made it clear that I would suffer her fate as if I was. His threats are weak and hollow, and I shall listen to them for only so long. I am tempted to take the opportunity to make a side visit to Candlekeep on the return trip. There are some things about my heritage that even Winsky does not know about, and the exact text of the prophecies of Alondo should prove most illuminating. So much that he wrote that's of relevance that I found. 30th of Marpanoth, 1367, I met with the leaders of the Chill, the Black Talons, and I have little liking for Ardenor, commander of the Chill, but Tagaz seems to be a man of his word. It is a good thing, as I'll have to work with these mercenaries for the full duration. Realtar is even supporting placing me in command of this entire wing of the operation, but it would not do, of course, for the adopted son of an Iron Throne leader to be seen visiting the bandits. So I have chosen the half-ogre Tazok as my figurehead. His abilities and loyalty to me are very satisfactory. 3rd of Ukhtar, 1367. A new dream this night. Mother was talking to me, but as she did, her face became bloated and discolored. Her voice became weaker as she spoke to me, telling me to save her from Realtar. I could see the garrote cutting into her neck, but I did nothing. It was only a dream. 8th of Ukhtar, 1367. Today I returned to our newly completed headquarters in Baldur's Gate and reported to Realtar. The fool still insists on calling me his son, and for now I will let him. He assumes that I am loyal to him because he raised me. Well, loyal I am, but only as long as he is useful. He has indeed placed me in full command of the mercenary operations while he supervises the doppelganger intrigues and Daviorn oversees the mining angle. The demonstration of the mineral poison was most impressive. 9th of Ukhtar, 1367. Winksy has similarly occupied himself well during my absence, and today presented me with the location of a nearby sect of Cyricists, who have made a particular practice of researching everything they can about Baal, and especially his successor. It only makes sense that Cyric would be very interested in the offspring of his fallen foe, rising to reclaim his portfolio. Winsky wants to capture one or more of the leaders and extract their knowledge from them. But I say we should shoot higher and interrogate them all. But that requires more than just 2 people, so I shall begin carefully selecting followers. Though I fully realize that my heritage should remain a general secret, especially from Realtar, it is time that the son of murder had the acolytes he deserves. 14th of Ukhtar, 1367. Cythandria reacted to my revelation exactly as I thought she would. She immediately saw herself as a queen or an idol of worship, the only fitting roles for the consort of the Lord of Murder. Only after several minutes of imagining life seated at my right hand did she think to pay me any proper homage or obeisance. If I had the luxury of choice, I would not have to put up with this kind of attitude, but I need to establish a power base of my own, so I shall tolerate it for now. There will be time for correction later. Feast of the Moon, 1367. The Cyricists are ours, and we have begun pumping them for information, with Zalamar taking over whenever other matters call me away. I have ordered that the younger members be kept alive, except to serve as useful examples to motivate the elder priests to be more forthcoming. What Winsky is most concerned about is that some mysterious ward of Gorion is mentioned in the prophecies, and is said to play a major role in the succession to Baal's portfolio, but there is no depiction of this rune or sigil anywhere, nor does he know what its significance might be. It is a pity that Gorion is not a more uncommon name. 17th of Nightal, 1367. Mullahay has established himself at the mines of Nashkel and should already be converting the kobolds to follow him as their leader. I expect that they will be contaminating the ore soon, though it will take some time before it becomes evident on the surface. Only a few slaves have begun to mine out the ore at the Cloakwood, though once the bandit raids begin I will be sending Daviorn a steady supply of new slaves. I wish I could lure Daviorn into joining my little cult, knowing that he still secretly worships Baal, but he has some deep distrust of me even after I dropped hints about my true parentage. Interesting. 29th of Nightal, 1367. Tomoko has displayed surprising skill in demoralizing some of the most resistant Cyruses. The way she slew one of the junior members, and then later quietly reanimated his corpse to attack his sleeping former comrades, was a sheer treat to watch. I was quite surprised that she had the audacity to rouse me directly out of my bed for the latter portion, however. Not that I needed an excuse to leave Cythandria's company. She complains far too much. 6th of Hammer, 1368. The Flaming Fists have finally begun to take notice of our little mercenary operation and have dispatched several small contingents to the coast way to try to fend off the bandit raids. I shall order all the men to, in the event of capture, claim Zentis allegiance, and I shall provide them with corroborative details to make the lie more convincing. I am sure the Zents at Darkhold won't be pleased to know that their name has been falsely used, but we cannot have the authorities catching our scent. Meanwhile, we have successfully infiltrated Angelo into the Flaming Fist, and I am instructing him in military strategy. Once this new talent of his gets recognized, he will be sure to be promoted, giving us a valuable spy right under Elton's nose. Well, that's not good at all. 22nd of Hammer, 1368. More revelations from the Cyruses. After intense examination, we finally got some names and numbers. I wonder what is so important about Saradouche. It seems Baal spawned literally hundreds of offspring all over Faerun. But only 20 of these shall be of any real importance, and from them 5 shall almost make the heavens themselves tremble in fear. This is very promising, but it seems that the head priest of Cyric is as in the dark as to this ward of Gorion as we are. Blast. I shall have to find an opportunity to enter Candlekeep after all. 14th of Alturiak, 1367. In Candlekeep at last, and though Winsky was too ill to leave Baldur's Gate, my research has gone well. The monks here are quite helpful. From what I have read, it is beyond all doubt that the blood of Baal flows through my veins. Alondo's prophecies are, of course, anything but explicit, but I think I understand them. Baal's children bear the marks of chaos, have power with no direction, shall feel the blood of a god within them, and shall be driven to cause death and destruction, especially among each other. The deaths they bring shall awaken the Father, and through them he will rise. The wording is somewhat ambiguous, but obviously this means that death wrought by the children will cause them to ascend. Fitting, and since the Father was the Lord of Murder, proving one's worth must involve an act in accordance with his portfolio. I begin to see what I must do. Death on a godlike scale. 15th of Alturiak, 1368. Winsky was a fool. Gorion's ward is not any sort of glyph at all, but rather a brat named Galadron, a few years younger than myself, and Gorion himself, though even older now, is doubtless the very same man from the temple all those long years ago. How ironic that the face that has been etched upon my brain for most of my life has been, for all this time, living as a monk practically on my doorstep. And while I have nothing to prove it, I believe that this Galadron was that same squealing baby in the soiled diaper, and this little pipsqueak is to have monumental importance in the fulfillment of my destiny. The very idea seems ludicrous. I barely got more than a glimpse today, but Galadron seems nothing more than a blissfully ignorant whelp with next to no training whatsoever. Hardly a figure to shake the deities, but Gorion troubles me. He seems to have taken an interest in my readings. I must be careful to be more clandestine in my research. 16th of Alturiak, 1367. I take my leave of Candlekeep now, and not a moment too soon, for I am sure that Gorion has perceived my heritage. I wish I could simply kill him, but I doubt I could safely murder him within this damnable library. One thing I am certain of, Galadron is, in actuality, one of Baal's brood as well. All the markings are there, and it would explain Gorion's curiosity of my studies, as well as Galadron being mentioned in the prophecy. Though there is nothing I can do now, I will have to make certain to return and kill the little brat. It would be foolish of me to let one of my siblings live, especially one being brought up by the Harpers, and I am sure that is where Gorion's allegiances lay. And I expect that Baal's power would be shared among his surviving children, so obviously I must make sure that I am the last man standing. If I am to inherit the throne of Baal, I want it all for myself. 19th of Alturiak, 1368. The last of our little Cyric cult has died, but I think we wrung everything useful from them in time. Winsky largely shares my opinion about Galadron in that the child's death is almost certainly called for, but advises me to stop short of actual murder until he can determine exactly what sort of role Gorion's ward is expected to play. Very well, I can wait. Winsky's health seems to be failing him, so he has deputized Samaj to take over the business of sniffing out any possible ballspawn in the area and luring them to the Iron Throne on the pretense of business reasons. Those I deem a possible threat I shall kill myself. The rest I will let Samaj deal with in some way. I have discreetly commissioned a fine suit of armor and sword, worthy of the next Lord of Murder, and have postponed my fratricidal activities until I can dress the part. 17th of Chess, 1368. Everything proceeds well. The ore coming from Nashko has started to deteriorate, and the mercenaries have been doing a fine job at seizing any Iron caravans en route to Baldur's Gate. Though some of my men have been captured, the Zent story is holding up well, so no trouble has fallen on the Iron Throne, but I will have to be wary of Zentish agents in the coming months. I am actually a bit disappointed in Realtar. His skill in manipulating this whole Iron plot notwithstanding, he sees it as nothing more than another way to make money, and increase his own status within the Iron Throne hierarchy. Bah, who cares about the petty intrigues of one pathetic mercantile organization when one can control the armies of entire nations? Ah, well, his blindness is my gain. 25th of Tarsak, 1368. The armor is completed and is wonderfully appropriate for the terrifying presence of a Deathbringer descended from the Lord of Murder. I shall have to congratulate Winsky for helping with the design, especially the additional enchantments awakened only by the presence of the Ball Essence. The sword shall not be finished for another day or two, but it seems appropriate that I should kill my first sibling with my own bare hands. Goodbye, Colin de Grage. You are not one of the 20. Alundo never gave a damn about you, and neither do I. 28th of Tarsak, 1368. The Sword of Chaos is glorious. The time is right to deal with that old codger Gorion and his little whelp. I will have to inform my men that I'll be gone for the next few days. Cythandria was furious when she learned I am taking Tomoko instead of her. Perhaps this will motivate her to support me in areas other than just the bedroom. 2nd of Myrtul, 1368. My long-delayed revenge on the withered old man is complete. I actually killed him in a bit too quickly. I wanted enough time to look into his dying eyes and remind him of where we had met before. Ah, well. It is of no real consequence. What a pair of prize fools he and his little puppy were, fleeing Candlekeep under cover of night, neither of them carrying anything more than a few pitiful scraps of equipment. Samaj agents scared them right into our ambush. Unfortunately, the whelp got away, took off running like a terrified jackrabbit after only a single spell. I would have told Tomoko to follow him, but between my laughter and my lust for vengeance, it slipped my mind. Still, with the old fool gone, the young fool shall not be far behind. From what I have seen, I would expect anyone with Galadron's level of skill and bravery to simply get lost in the wilderness and die of exposure after a day or two. A fitting end for the prize pupil of the man who thought I was less important than a squealing infant. I return to Baldur's Gate and the list of brothers and sisters who are actually worthy of death by my hand. Just to be on the safe side, I have contacted Samaj's little network and added Galadron's name to those whose deaths will be rewarded. 9th of Myrtul, 1368. Well, not only has Galadron not gotten eaten by the gibberlings, as I expected, but has survived the best attempt of 2 of Samaj's bounty hunters. Fallen in with a group of adventurers and safely met with the mayor of Nashkel. It appears that there may be a spine in there after all. Still, it is obvious that this little war party seeks to disrupt our activities in the mines. Happily, Tazak and Tranzig have been well prepared for this sort of thing and know just what to do. 15th of Myrtul, 1368. The loss of Nashkel was a shocking blow to us, but we can recover. At the emergency meeting, we agreed that the best solution would be to send some of our own men into Nashkel, if not into the mine itself, and corrupt as much ore as possible without getting caught. I suggested that the most opportune time would be during transit. Whether as ore cart drivers or caravan guards, our men should easily be able to contaminate the iron, since everyone else would be watching the horizon, not the wagons, and in the event of an attack by our mercenaries, the Black Talons would already have a couple of their men planted among the enemy. After some debate, even Daviorn was made to see the wisdom of this. The best part is that even if we only manage to poison some of the ore shipped out of Nashkel, rumors will start circulating that the town's iron is still just as tainted as before. They're just claiming that it's pure and shipping it out anyway. Some might even say that the entire adventuring party was just a lie that Nashko made up so people would start buying their iron again. I will mention this additional angle to Realtar tomorrow. Still, the news that Galadron is still alive despite all odds troubles me greatly. I shall talk the matter over with Winsky and then strike, personally if I can find the time. 24th of Myrtul, 1368. Hellfire and damnation. I cannot believe the dispatches, but there is no denying them. With Tzok's camp destroyed, I shall have to establish a roaming base of operations and supervise it myself. Realtar and Davliorn have agreed to this largely because in my new armor I cannot be recognized and traced back to the Iron Throne. But blast it all, in addition to the loss of men, this will take up all of my time, and I shall have to recall most of the death squads that I had ordered to seek out and ambush Galadron and company. The situation looks dire. Galadron already knows far too much. At least their next move is predictable. Davliorn and a crew handpicked by Realtar have already left to personally guard the mines, so let Galadron's little band follow the trail of clues if they wish. Just let them try to struggle through the Cloakwood, and may they all perish in the attempt. Myself, I care little whether they find the mine or not. The men there belong to Davliorn and Realtar, not me. I must use this time to recollect the scattered mercenaries into something useful once again. 9th of Kythorn, 1368. Back in Baldur's Gate, briefly for the emergency meeting I had been expecting, the news from the Cloakwood has predictably driven Realtar half mad with worry. I admit that things have not gone anything like the way we planned, but I think we can still turn this to our advantage. For one thing, I strongly doubt that Galadron was able to carry more than 100 tons of ore, 100 tons of iron ore out of the Cloakwood, meaning that it's still there, waiting for our barges to come pick it up, just as arranged. The trick will be manipulating the public opinion. I must find some way to place the blame for the Iron Crisis squarely on Galadron's shoulders, as I cannot make my break with the Iron Throne until the fruit is fully ripe. At least Galadron's next move is obvious, here to Baldur's Gate to accuse the Iron Throne. Would that I could slay them in the streets, but we must not cause an uproar, and I am needed back at the camp in any case. I have prepared Zalamar and his handpicked crew to stand guard in my stead and wait for Galadron's next and last blundering step against me. 12th of Kythorn, 1368. Galadron has finally entered Baldur's Gate and has gotten very friendly with Scar, but has not yet made any direct move against the Iron Throne. From the tone of his letter, Realtar is on the verge of panic, expecting assassins to emerge from his bedclothes at any time. He urges me to come to the city at once, mentioning something about wanting me to be present at an important meeting in a secure location. Something tells me that the coward is scrapping for any excuse to stay out of Galadron's reach. Happily, Tzok is now fully recovered and back to fighting strength, so he can resume his former duties while I return to the city and get things under control. 14th of Kythorn, 1368. I have long known of Realtar's more pacifistic tendencies, but I would never have expected him to actually arrange a meeting with the Knights of the Shield to prevent a war that should be very profitable to him. No one would accuse my mortal father of being a charming man, but he can certainly be oily when he needs to, so I must intervene. But secrecy and deception are crucial now. If the wheel of fate is to spin freely under my hand, I must be very cunning. I have therefore informed Realtar that Galadron's little mercenary band has been dispatched and neatly replaced by a doppelganger crew as arranged. Therefore, when they suddenly burst into the meeting, his panicky reactions will all but ensure a bloody outcome. But too much is at stake with this to leave anything to chance. The doppelgangers and I must be present as well. Though heavily disguised, I shall ask my acolytes to prepare something suitable. Happily, the sect of Cyric has some old texts which will almost certainly satisfy the entry requirements into Candlekeep, and Winsky and Smash have already copied down anything of relevance. 19th of Kythorn, 1368. Barely enough time to write, but I must not neglect my journals, so the future dead must know of the Lord of Murder again came to them. Perhaps I shall hire a scribe when time allows. As it turns out, I did not even need to maneuver one of the Cyrus's books into Galadron's hands, as Duke Elton was more than willing to give my little scapegoat one of his own texts. Just moments ago, I saw Galadron enter the walls of Candlekeep, and I expect our little drama to commence here any minute. My self-styled father, Realtar, is upstairs with 2 representatives of the Knights of the Shield. As foreseen, he has been blocking all my attempts to escalate the border hostilities. Terribly sorry, father, but my true parentage calls, and you are in the way. On the off chance that the upcoming encounter does not immediately produce bloodshed, I shall be sure to instruct the doppelgangers in the exact manner Realtar should die. I think a garrote would be perfect for the task. 21st of Kythorn, 1368. On top of the world, with Thaldorn, Realtar, and Bruno slain, Galadron in custody for their murders, and the entire assets of the Iron Throne at my disposal, the entire city is practically at my feet, and everything is working out as Alundo said it would. I have announced my intention to donate everything to the war effort, and now that Silver Shield is out of the way, the rumors of elevating me to Grand Duke are beginning to catch on among the populace. The only blight on the day is the news that the message I sent to Zalamar did not reach him in time, robbing me of 6 of my best and brightest. I have dealt with the messenger accordingly, and perhaps I can arrange it so I perform Galadron's execution personally, thus completing the circle of revenge. He has been busy. Now I fully understand what he was up to and why he was up to. We have other letters here.